Hey, thanks for joining me today. You're listening to the Sit Down with Roman Gray. I've slowly been observing certain people that I admire in this life. I've been trying to connect the dots on what makes them all so similar. What is it that these people have that I don't? And without trying to draw any conclusions where there are none to begin with, I found one answer that was certain. I came to the conclusion that it pays to be the anomaly, to be the contrarian, to be different. I found that these people always had one thing in common, which was they were different in some way or another, whether it was the way they thought, the way they saw the world, their introspectiveness, their lust for knowledge, their insatiable curiosity, work ethic, creativity, their stubbornness, their passion, and even the occasional natural talent. There was always a factor that somehow separated them from everyone else, or at least the majority of everyone else. I basically find myself doing these character studies in order to better understand greatness, potential, and even probability. These people that have managed to stand out and make something of themselves for themselves really fascinates me. And throughout my character studies, I continually ended up returning back to one answer unknowingly, which was the ability or the practice of being different. To be okay to stand out and be mocked or lose just for the chance of what it was they wanted. To do something that was so important, in most cases it meant going against the status quo. And for all those character studies I did, despite their pain, fear, torment, doubt, and neglect, and even though the timelines always varied, it somehow seemed to work out for all of them in the end nonetheless. Think of figures like Marcus Aurelius, Van Gogh, Charles Bukowski, Helen Keller, Tupac, Elon Musk, Nipsey Hussle, Serena Williams, and probably some of your favorite idols today. They all dared to be different, without knowing if what they did was going to somehow be rewarded or recognized. But that right there is one of the key things. They didn't dare to be different in hopes that they would be recognized or compensated for it. The ones that had the biggest impact and the ones that were the most memorable were different because it's either who they were or their dreams demanded it of them. Obviously, not every single thing about them had to be different and amazing. You don't have to be radically different. You can be 100% normal and still lead a life full of memories and prosperity. I find that just for me and the things I want and the people I've admired, they always tend to have that one thing in common, which is being different or daring to be different. But who's to say I'm not good enough to be different? Who's to say you're not good enough to be different? I don't think there's such a thing that's external that dictates that. I think being different doesn't have to be associated with being memorable or groundbreaking. Being different just simply makes life more interesting. So being different, the contrarian, the anomaly, it matters because life is filled with so much of following rules, maintaining schedules and routines, clicking with the herd mentality. And it all eventually, I think, more or less just gets to all of us. So being different in whatever form that may be helps me in living a life that is fun, exciting, and interesting, because my life isn't something that just gets strung along in the lost sea of bland lives. We all want to be noticed, but at the same time, we don't want to be outcasts. We all want to fit in, but in an extraordinary way. We all want the best of both worlds. But I find that the true change makers are the ones who embraced their uniqueness or even their strangeness. It matters to be different for a variety of reasons. I find that it matters to be different because that is what allows us to be our most true and authentic selves. Being different is what helps us innovate and understand things beyond our own perspective. Being different is important because for most of us, our worries and fears are rooted in normalcy, in being forgotten or uninteresting, unaccomplished or unoriginal. I'm not saying that simply trying to be different will cure you of these fears or worries, But by being different, or even embracing difference, you in return elevate your own life experiences because you are no longer being preoccupied with trying to cram yourself or other people into a box. It's basically the idea of, instead of living in a world where everything is separated by the word or, instead things can be separated by the word and. When it comes down to it, being different can mean whatever you want it to mean. If that means liking math more than the rest of your peers, then embrace it. If being different to you means taking risks for your dreams, then go do that. If being different simply means you being yourself, since genetically there is no one else like you, then by all means, be different, be you. Being different, being the contrarian, is something I think we should all embrace a little more. What do you think? And before you guys go and enjoy the rest of your day, I just want to shout out to everyone who has been listening to this podcast. So for some of you who may or may not know, I've been doing this podcast for just a little over a year now. And my goal when I first started it, for whatever reason, was to get 1,000 downloads within the first year. I'm very proud to say that I accomplished that. I managed to get about, 1,020 downloads by the 1 year mark. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has ever listened to my podcast. It means the world to me that there are so many of you who keep coming back week after week to listen to me talk and hopefully are resonating with what I'm saying. So to anyone who's listening now, who has ever listened before, and who recommends this to their friends, peers, partners, or whoever, thank you. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. And I hope you guys take something away from these things I'm saying and hopefully find yourself also evolving along with me on this journey that we all call life.